We are having an administration that's targeting peaceful protests, people that are there to protest. The president is sending the National Guard because he doesn't like the scenes. He doesn't like the scenes.
The 2025 LA riots. Is Antifa behind it? Maybe. Part of the cause is Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum, just weeks prior, threatening to, quote, mobilize against the United States due to a potential tax on remittances. What do the LA riots teach us about urban self-defense? Stuff is crazy, guys. Towards the end of the video, I'm going to talk a little bit about how you can prepare yourself in case something like this spills over into a community near you for the potential of a home invasion. Now, I want to start by saying I noticed an article that was posted regarding the Mexican president, Claudia Sheinbaum. This was a week or so prior to the start of the riots. And she mentioned something about, quote, mobilizing against the United States in regards to a tax on remittances. Now, honestly, I don't think that's what started it, but you can clearly see the hatred towards the United States from other countries. And the crazy part is they hate the United States, but they come to the United States. Are they doing that for a better life? I think some of them are, but I also think some are coming here to destroy the United States. So on June 6th, the protests began regarding the immigration raids, so to speak. Now, after my research, it seems as if these are targeted. I even saw Tom Holman talk about they did an investigation on a business that not only hires illegal immigrants, but funnels that money to the cartel. All right, so let's start off with the obvious. A majority of the United States citizens want border control, which is why, one of the reasons why, Donald Trump won the popular vote. You understand? Even with an influx of illegal immigrants coming across, that many of them likely voted because there is not you don't have to present your ID in some states. So even with that, he still won campaigning on one of the main things, which is immigration. So first off, this shouldn't be a wild surprise. I've heard cases of people saying, well, simply being here is not a crime. Now, according to Tom Holman, he references 8 U.S. Code 1325. He has multiple interviews. One that went viral was one with AOC when she was trying to grill him on the immigration laws.
Mr. Holman, with all due respect, legal asylees are not charged with any crime.
When you're into the country illegally, it's violation 8 United States Code 1325.
Seeking asylum is legal.
If you want to seek asylum and go through the port of entry, do it the legal way.
So, of course, simply being here, in some cases, I understand that if you overstay your visa, it might be a different law behind it or whatnot. But of course, what happened when there was an influx of people coming over, that in and of itself is crime number one. Now, I do believe many of the people coming in are not bad people. Of course, they initially broke the law by coming in by not going to a port of entry. And I do believe a lot of them are not bad people. But of course, there are murderers. There are literal terrorists. And doesn't mean that they came through the southern border. That means they are Mexican. Any country. So this is something that a lot of people are just saying, well, they're removing everybody. It truthfully is a targeted thing. Although I consider myself politically a center-right person, we have to point out the obvious. A lot of violent crime happens in blue states. I mean, California particularly. I can't see something like this happening in Florida. Now, I'm not naive. I'm not saying that it won't. However, it will not get that far to that level where days and days go by. But guys, don't worry. These protests are peaceful, mainly. I mean, one or two people acting up. And a lot of times they're just having fun watching the cars burn, an old American pastime.
It could turn very volatile if you move law enforcement in there in the wrong way and turn what is just a bunch of people having fun watching cars burn into a massive confrontation and altercation between officers and demonstrators.
So now we're hearing about Gavin Newsom trying to sue the Trump administration for mobilizing the National Guard. One of the things that I heard was, well, everything was peaceful until the National Guard came, and then things got bad. Okay, listen to this logic. You have a child at a grocery store with their parents, and the kid is screaming and crying and having a temper tantrum, and the parents aren't doing anything about it. And someone says, hey, why don't you talk to your kid and tell them to act right? And the response is, well, if we do that, he might get louder. So we're just going to let him go and it'll die out. Is that the right way to do it? It's been said that there's about 700 Marines being deployed to assist the National Guard, even though you have, I think it was the mayor of LA essentially harassing them. What are you going to shoot us with your guns? This and that, how ridiculous that even is.
If you shoot me, you better shoot straight. I don't know why you're in my city. I don't get why the guns have to be here. We're a sanctuary city. We know Trump doesn't like us.
And somebody comment, I want to know when the last time United States military, and I'm not talking about the National Guard, I understand they're military, the Marines, for example, when were they brought in to a United States event that wasn't a natural disaster? I'm curious to know when that happened last. Now, that brings me to my next part regarding self-defense. If there is a riot in your area, of course, you as a level-headed person, you're not going to be standing in the middle of that. You're going to be at home. But what do we need to be aware of if something like this happens? So, for example, let's just say in Florida, something like this were to happen in a city nearby. I'm confident that the government is going to take care of that quickly. But when they come in, these protesters are going to scatter like cockroaches. Where are they going to go? Well, if they feel cornered, they might try to fight. Meaning, if they flee into a community where you might be sleeping, you need to be ready for that. So let's think outside the box a bit. Just because you don't live on the street that they're burning down doesn't mean that a home invasion can't happen, right? They don't want to come in and steal your TV. They need to come in and cause harm so that they don't get killed or arrested. So think of it like this. In Florida, of course, hurricanes are one of those things that we always have to worry about. And most people in Florida are aware of this. So we have backup generators. We have cases of water. We have non-perishable foods, batteries, flashlights. A reasonable person in Florida will store this. Now, of course, I talk to my clients about this. That is one thing. But you're also going to need your firearms, your ammunition, and your bug out bag, and a lot of other things. But the point I'm making is, when I think of something like a riot taking place, possibly spilling over into communities, you need both of those, regardless if you live in a hurricane state or not. Imagine you're stuck in your house for a week. Think about that. You need food, you need water, and you need protection. In my videos, I always finish with, you are your own first responder. That means on an average given day in South Florida, PBSO, Palm Beach County Sheriff, they have a pretty quick response time. I mean, I'm assuming it's between 3 to 5 minutes. Now, if there's a crisis going on, just not even a crazy home invasion, end of the world kind of thing, there's a lot of calls coming through, that might bring up to about 6 or 7 minutes. So that being said, put yourself in that position where there's riots and home invasions and you're sheltered in place for days. Someone kicks down the door. Police aren't coming. You're there. You have to protect yourself and your family. So, of course, I mentioned your job is to be prepared. You need everything you have at home. And honestly, you should have a go bag. You should have supplies in your vehicle in case you are traveling and something like this happens. Another thing that I like to say is to be an urban ghost. An urban ghost, someone who walks around but doesn't look tactical, doesn't look like the rioters, the bad guys, whoever this is, will see you and say, hey, we got to take this person out first because they seem more like a threat. It is all I have for you at the moment. If you agree with some of the things that I said, consider subscribing to this channel. Most of the content that I post is self-defense and firearms related, but I do like to touch on some current event subjects as well. If you disagree with things that I have to say, I would like to hear your voice in the comments section. Consider liking the video as well and sharing it with a friend. As I mentioned earlier, you are your own first responder.